welcome everybody to another Mando Lessons Live, coming at you noon Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays. Great to see so many people in the chat already. I need to pop the chat out so I can actually read it at the same time as doing all the other things I do while this happens. And I hope you're all doing well. Let's see who we got here. We've got the Pelican 3, McCarthy, Sheldon, Alf, Chip, Melinda, Lamb, Rob, Woody, Lawrence, C, Visk, Terry, Frank, Andrew. Good to see you. Andrew with the super chat right off the bat. Thank you so much for the support. I saw that just as I was about to start up the live stream here, and you're totally right. It's a blustery cold day here in Maine as well. So it's time to do a little bit of cold frosty morning. That one got a little weird because I started out and couldn't remember how it went, and it turned out major. Then I made it minor. Then I made it more minor. And then I just started messing with it. So not the most traditional version of cold frosty morning you've ever heard, but fun all the same. All right, Shari and Michelle and Shannon and Beck, Jane, thank you all for tuning in. And if this is your first time here, let me know. It's always good to see new names and faces. We got folks from all over the world: Minnesota, Norway, Georgia, Ohio, Algeria, UK, California, Georgia, South Dakota, Oregon, Nova Scotia, Indy Mittens. Oh, middle of the mitten, nice. All right, Michigan. Wow, all sorts of folks from Michigan. Oh man, James requests Rocky Palette. I love that tune. I can't remember how it goes. A friend that I play with, we play that all the time, but I always play it on guitar. If I can get that one in my head, I'll do my best to get it going. But if you haven't been here before, the way this works is nice. Try to keep it nice and relaxed, but mostly I'm here to answer any questions you might have. Whether it's about playing mandolin or music in general, learning stuff. I love hearing what everyone's working on. So chime in on the chat. Let me know what you're thinking, and I'll do my best to help out. I'm happy to take requests. That said, I can only do music that's in the public domain and isn't copyrighted, so no pop songs and stuff like that. And I can only do tunes if I know them, like Rocky Palette. I can't remember Rocky Palette. I'll play another. I think Rocky Palette a C tune. I think it is, but I can't remember. I'll play whatever this tune is that's in my head. was the name of that tune? I can't remember. That's another one that I play with my friend that I play Rocky Palette with. Maybe the name will come to me at some point. Sorry, Denise. All right, let me catch up with the chat here. Rocky Palette. More folks chiming in. Utah, Antoine, Shari, Little Birdie. Birdie, little birdie. I can't remember how that one goes. Cold Frosty, one of my favorites, especially today. Expecting 12 to 24 inches in the next 24 hours in Minnesota. Wow, that's a lot of snow. Lower Alabama from Strummin 210. Thanks for jumping in. Ben requests Catharsis. That is a modernly composed tune by, I believe, Amy Can. So I'm not going to do it on this just because it's not in the public domain. But there are videos out there. I think there's even one on YouTube of me playing it on my personal channel that I don't care as much if it gets taken down. It's also like a 10-plus-year-old video of me playing it. So that would be fun if you can find that one. Let's see. Arkansas Traveler. Happy to oblige with that one of my favorites. And Sheldon says, any public domain Christmas songs? I am not up on my Christmas songs. I don't know if there are any public domain Christmas songs. If there are and you know some, put them in the chat because I'd be happy to do some Christmas songs. I just don't know any of them. Most of them are copyrighted, but if there's some good public domain ones I should look into, put them in the chat. James says, not Rocky Palette, but I'll take it. Yeah, I can't remember Rocky Palette off the top of my head, and I can't remember the name of that tune. Hopefully both of those things will come back to me. All right, Lewis. Good to see you. I was just hanging out with Lewis and Denise and some other folks here in the chat last night. Alf, etc. I know there's more of you in here. Sorry, I can't find your names in the crowd anymore. But I did the Patreon office hours last night. So once a month, for those who support me over on Patreon, links in the description if you're interested. I do one of these just for patrons. It's a little more mellow because there aren't, 50 plus people chatting as fast as they can, which I love. So don't hold back on the chats. But if you're looking for a more mellow experience, maybe check out the Patreon link in the description. What was the request? Arkansas Traveler. How does that go? There it is. Here's a groovy little version of Arkansas Traveler. I'm feeling playful with my tunes today, apparently. Alright, let's see if I can get this Rocky Palette. I think I'm gonna have to cheat. I'm gonna look at it because I know that I've played it. Rocky Palette. Let's see if do a little on the fly tune finding. Rocky Palette. I can't quite get it out today. I have to work on that one. But I appreciate the great request. It's a great tune. Rob says Arkansas Traveler would be a good simple tune or simple to complex lesson. Cool. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should if I haven't done one of those already, probably haven't. Then I should do them. People seem to be enjoying those simple to complex. So people like those simple to complex, and then also the kind of play along ones I've been doing. I've been putting out the simple to complex video 1 week for one tune, and then the same tune next week doing the jam, trying to see if I can get you to put some new things into your tunes. It's been fun. Let's see, catching up with the chat. AC, good to have you here. Glad you didn't miss it. Melinda's seeing Sierra Hull tonight in Cincinnati. Very cool. She's great. I wish she came to Maine more often. Lewis, glad you like the tempo on the Arkansas Traveler. Cool. Denise looked up some public domain Christmas songs. Joy to the World, Silent Night, We Wish You a Merry Christmas, The First Noel, Deck the Halls. Cool. Wow, I thought all those were copyrighted, but apparently I haven't been doing my research. And Jingle Bells. Wow, all of those are public domain? That's surprising, but I'll look into them. In the Pines. I don't know any of the words, but I'll play the... There's a little bit of In the Pines. I can't remember any of the words off the top of my head. In the pines, where the sun never shines, shiver with cold winds blow. That's all I got. Do I know the Cavan Reel? Not off the top of my head. A lot of Irish tunes I don't actually know the names of or how to start them, but sometimes I can start them if other people are playing them. Cool. Shannon is enjoying the simple to complex videos. Oh, I already did it. I was wondering if I'd already done Arkansas Traveler. Cool. Thank you for making it so I avoid doing that twice. I lose track real quick, so thanks for checking. Danny says, I would like to know how you go into the chords with songs. I don't entirely know what you mean. If you can explain that question a little bit more, I'd be happy to answer. It sounds like the start to a good question. I don't entirely understand at this point, but do go on, because I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Pretty Little Indian. I don't know that one, but I'll look into it. In the Pines. That seems to be a hit. I assume that's got to be traditional. I know it might. There's enough versions of it out there that yeah. I wonder who recorded that first. Salt Creek. Yeah, I haven't played that tune in a long time. Is that that Salt Creek? I always get Salt Creek and Red Haired Boy mixed. Yeah, I think that's Salt Creek. This doesn't seem right. I went back into Cold Frosty Morning. Wow, Salt Creek. Wow, I'm losing that tune. I never play that tune. It's kind of a... I only ever play that in bluegrass repertoire. I'm going to look it up, though, because I really should have that one under my fingers, and I know it's on my website. But the B part is totally eluding me. Too many A tunes in a row, and my mind turns to pudding. Salt Creek. How does the B part of this tune go? Or maybe I just have the whole thing wrong. Alright. Got the A part right. I don't know why that B part got away from me. I've been playing that tune for like 20 years. Alright. Breaking Up Christmas. That's a great tune that I can't remember how it starts. Sorry, Chip. But that would be a good Christmas theme, old time tune. Learning to pick out tunes from songs. Working on The Blackest Crow and Seven Drunken Nights. I don't know that second one, but The Blackest Crow is a beautiful song. Working on Lonesome Moonlight Waltz. I can never remember how that one goes. Yeah. Now, I was thinking about that tune the other day and lamenting the fact that I couldn't remember how it goes. But maybe another time I'll try to get it under my fingers. Clayton says, just saw you were live as I was watching one of your other tutorials. Bought a mandolin a few weeks ago and have been watching your videos as my intro. Thanks so much for your videos. Well, thanks so much for watching and thanks for tuning in on Saturday. I do these most Saturdays. And if you miss them or you can't stay for the whole thing, you can always watch them after the fact. They're always up to go back through later on. Denise does some great PDFs so you can kind of search through them by tunes and look at episode guides. If you click the little green button on the left-hand side of MandoLessons.com. It's a little easier to search through that way. In the Pines is traditional. It doesn't surprise me. There's a million versions out there. Salt Creek is correct. You just played your version last night. Oh, just played your version last night. Cool. Yeah, that B part got away from me, and I went back into Cold Frosty Morning. There's also another great tune called Cold Frosty Morning that's also in A major, which I think was not helping my brain. It's not twin fiddles like the title says? I missed. I don't know what you're talking about with the twin fiddles thing, but please elaborate if that is something if that's a question. In the Pines has amazing cross genre too. Yeah, because who did it? Like the Birds or somebody? I can't remember, but yeah, a lot of genres have gotten into that one. Delphin, good to have you here. Have dog will there's a mouthful. Have dog will travel. Thanks so much for the super chat donation and everyone who donates with super chat or Patreon or PayPal. I know there's some of all those here, and I really appreciate it all. The website runs entirely on donations, so wouldn't be here without you. So I really appreciate it, and great to have you in the chat. Have dog will travel. Sean says, I'm on a real trip at the moment, trying to get gravel walk under my fingers. Do you have that? I've had it in the past. My brain is pretty slow today. How about I Still Miss Someone? Yes, that is a Johnny Cash song as far as I know. Christmas Time's a Comin'. I don't know that one. Or at least not by name. Something Scottish. I don't have a huge Scottish repertoire, but I'll pull something out. Highland Laddie. Great. Just want you to go on my website. us. So there's a little bit of some Scottish tunes. Thanks for the request there for Tam Lynn. That's a classic, also known as the Glasgow. The first tune, somebody asked what the name was, it's Highland Laddie. It's also got a name in the Irish repertoire that I can't quite remember. It's a beautiful tune, though. It's not on my website, but I should make a note to put it up there because it's a beautiful tune. I love that tune. And the second one was Tam Lynn. Okay, now I understand the Twin Fiddles comment. Yeah, YouTube often will just like not allow people to post links. And that always gets me every time too when I try to do it. Vanessa, good to have you here. Oh yeah, Nirvana did In the Pines, not the Birds. I don't forget what I was thinking about with the Birds. Lejla. Apologies, I know I'm not pronouncing your name properly. Says their mom is watching. Can I give a shout out to Alina? Hi Alina, glad you're watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I hope you're enjoying playing the mandolin. Or maybe you're just listening. But thanks for joining us. Have Dog Will Travel says, still having trouble trying to navigate my ring finger to the 5th fret. Usually when I go from the 2nd fret to 5th. Always miss it. Any thoughts? So ring finger to the 5th. So I think maybe... So the 2nd fret's going to be your pointer finger. And then ring finger on the 5th fret. I think one thing you can do as a little exercise is, you know, a lot of that sort of movement on the fretboard. I'll zoom in a little bit here so you can see what I'm doing. So a good exercise is to, you know, you're going to have your pointer finger on the 2nd fret and then ring finger on the 5th. See if you can get somewhere that both of those fingers can stay down at the same time. And it might require, you know, moving your arm around a little bit or your wrist. Try to stay as loose as possible. Kind of follow the technique instructions that I talk about in my first beginner session videos on proper technique. But then also you can do a little micro adjustment, maybe with your thumb, to figure out where you can get both fingers down comfortably. And then you can do little exercises like open 2-5 across the strings. Another thing you can do is overshoot it a little bit and do open 2 and 6. And that's going to be even more of a stretch. But then when you go back to try to do 2 and 5, it might be a little simpler. Hope that's helpful. You know, and yeah, just do a little bit of that, a little bit of stretching. A lot of it's going to be sort of figuring out how to hold the mandolin in a way that you can get that stretch. And hopefully that's helpful for you. Great question, though. It's always hard figuring out little, you know, mechanical things like that. But just keep at it and you'll definitely... The more you try, the easier it'll get every time. Michael's got a great question. Anything you are practicing towards achieving on the mandolin right now? I'm working on arpeggios and connecting open and closed shapes. Be interested to hear what you're working on. That's interesting. I don't know that I'm really working on much on the mandolin right now. I'm working on some other instruments mostly. I'm trying to work on a little bit of electric bass. I also have been getting into some electric tenor guitar stuff, like this thing, tuned like a mandolin, GDAE. And so kind of trying to figure out what it is, what's going on. I'm just like totally new to electric instruments. So trying to figure out, you know, how to best serve an electric guitar. Because I at this point, I'm really like playing electric way too hard, because you don't need to play hard to get loud or to get like a sound out of an electric instrument. You can just turn it up. And we were talking a little bit about this last night in the Patreon live stream, but that's definitely something that I'm working on. outside. But on mandolin, I think there's things I'm constantly working on. Like feeling more comfortable with the instrument. Um, you know, I mostly kind of at this point I'm kind of practicing whatever more kind of like freedom with musical ideas on the instrument. Like today, I've been very playful with the tunes that I've been playing for you guys. I don't know why. Maybe I've just had too much coffee or not enough coffee or something. Um, but it's always good. I feel like I've hit some amount of a plateau on mandolin, mostly because I don't have that particular. You like you said for yourself, you're working on arpeggios and connecting open and closed shapes. Like having that sort of goal and that um, thing to work on is a really great way to improve your playing. And I don't have a very solidified goal on mandolin right now. Maybe it would be I want to make a solo mandolin album of all Irish tunes. But I feel a little I don't play quite enough Irish music. I play a lot of old time at this point, especially on mandolin. I play in an Irish session every week, but I'm usually playing tenor banjo. So that could definitely be something of a goal for myself, is really get some Irish repertoire back into my fingers and make it feel like second nature. But that's a great question. What are other people working on? I'm curious to know if you have goals in sights or particular practice techniques that you're working on, things to practice. So chat away on what you're working on, because I'm always curious. James says, I first heard Tamlin in a Scottish pub in the Highlands from the great Scottish fiddler Alistair Kaplan. Cool. That must have been a treat. Yeah, the first time people hear that tune, it's definitely an experience. It's a great tune. Black Mountain Rag. I can't pull off Black Mountain Rag. I was listening to Doc Watson play that last night. No, 2 nights ago. I always think of that kind of as a guitar tune, just because I have guitar arrangements of it in my head. Denise says, any questions on smoothing out strumming? I have trouble on the up part of the strum. Yeah, I would say a good way to smooth it out is to really kind of go to the other end of the spectrum and see if you can like make it totally, your upstroke is naturally going to be a little more awkward and a little quieter and not quite as powerful as your downstroke, just because you're kind of fighting gravity coming back up versus letting your hand fall through the instrument on a downstroke. I mean, one thing you can do is just like start and don't even touch the instrument, just have the pick in your hand and just try to make your downstroke feel as powerful, or your upstroke feel as smooth and powerful as your downstroke. Down, up, down, up, down, up, or even more. So you go down and then really kind of pull back through with extra up. And then bring it to the instrument and you get, maybe just mute the strings. And make sure you're going through all the strings and you're getting a nice percussive sound, going down. Often you won't go up as fast, so you'll get this sort of brush sound. See if you can just get that. Nice percussive sound. Then as you bring it into just try to make it nice and smooth. Or you can do it just with like a double stop, like the open G string and 5th fret on the D string. Anything you can do to sort of build that motor into your right hand and keep it going the full time. Hope that's helpful in what you meant. Gallopede. Great request. I'm happy to do Gallopede. There it is, a little bit of Gallopede, also known as... Oh, I can't remember. There's another name for it. But anyway, there it is, Gallopede, one of my favorite contradance tunes of all time. Cool, we got people chiming in on what they're working on. Ooh, Michelle says, Glass Island Reel. I feel like I used to know that tune a really long time ago, but I'll have to look that one up after the stream here. Truck Driving Man, don't know that one. Al says I'm working on Old North Woods. That's a beautiful tune. Rob's working on Chop Chords Higher Up the Neck. That's a worthy cause. Tidy's good to have you here. Woody says, cool, long vacation in Ireland. That sounds dreamy. Yes, chop is an interesting issue, as Elf says. Yeah, there's so many different ways to kind of think about and get into chop chords. It's a lot of fun. Woody's been working on Cliff some more and Jig of Slurs and Kesh Jig. Awesome. Into the Irish stuff. Oh, nice. Ben's also working on Kesh Jig. It's a great tune. In a set with Morrison's and Swallowtail. Sounds like a good one. Road to Lisdoon Varna. I love that tune. So the interesting thing, I'll try not to slur my words, about the Road to Lisdoon Varna is I learned it more as like a jig, but technically it's a slide. So it's got a slightly different, I kind of learned it as... But it's really kind of got this, as it's a dance tune, called a slide. It's got a little more push. Road to Lisdoon Varna. I really like kind of getting that little rhythm into it there to really make it feel extra slidey. Ashokan Farewell. That's a great tune, but is written by Jay Unger and is copyrighted. Just started learning how to play mandolin. Cool. Greetings from Argentina. Thanks for tuning in. Keep up the good work. Yarmouth Reel. There we go. Thank you, Shannon. On the alternate name for the one that Gallopede. There we go. That caused much confusion for me because I'd never heard the second name, Yarmouth Reel. So I was always saying, I don't know that one, and then finally it was a tune that I knew after all. Cool! Woody says, bought a penny whistle while in Cork. I'd love to learn to play the penny whistle, or something that I could just keep in my pocket at all times. Do you know Maison de Glace? I do. That's a great tune. It is actually not in the public domain. I can't remember who it was written by off the top of my head. No, it's not going to come, but it's a beautiful tune. Show us how you do chops. Sure. So there's a couple different ways to do chop chords. There's the big classic. I'll zoom into the other window here. Other view, rather. So the classic chop, 7, 5, 2, 3. Then you can move it over to C, up to D, and back to G. And most of what's going on is kind of a combination of left and right hand things. Once you get that shape down, You can let it ring out, and then what's stopping the sound is releasing pressure in your left hand. You're not taking your fingers off the strings, but just kind of releasing the pressure, and it mutes the strings. Till you get this little kind of pop. That said, I don't often play that full chop shape, because really you've got multiple shapes. So if you think of like double stops, you've got 3 different double stops in here. You've got 7 and 5, you've got 5 and 2, and 2 and 3. Then you can do triple chops. I just made that word up, but 5 2 3 or 7 5 2. So I often don't play the high string of a G chop chord, so you can really, like, the difference between this sound and this is pretty minimal. So I often will opt for 2-finger chords, kind of double stops. Mr. Beardy is working on Jerusalem. Whoops, got to get the camera back here. Mr. Beardy is working on Jerusalem Ridge. It's a great tune and is very tricky. It's got, what, 5 parts and it's a little crooked. Angeline the Baker. Never heard of it. Just kidding. Yeah, I'm happy to play Angeline the Baker. A little bit of Angeline the Baker. I love that tune. It's super groovy. It's got a great, like, I know it's a tune that people often learn first and it's sort of thought of as a beginner tune, but I really, it's kind of rhythmically complicated and weird. Like if you clap that out, bop, 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 bop. It's very punchy. I like it. All right, let's see. Michael Cleveland does a great version of Jerusalem Ridge. Yeah, his playing is incredible. He's also a great mandolin player. Started learning Jerusalem Ridge. Tricky. We'll have to get back to that one. How do you balance playing with teaching? Which is your main focus these days? That's a good question. You got a lot of good questions. I think, again, it's kind of instrument dependent. I teach a lot of mandolin. And if I'm at a camp, that I'm like teaching mandolin at, I'll play a lot of mandolin when I'm not teaching. But if I'm kind of around my house, I'm really, playing other instruments at this point, which I do a lot of. I was like my main hobby in life at this point is learning to play music on a variety of instruments. Um, so I do a lot of it, and I do play a lot with friends and um, performances and playing for contra dances and events and things like that. And playing in sessions, I love playing, at my weekly Irish session and old time sessions, things like that. But in terms of the balance, I think the majority of the teaching I do is online and at camps, and it's not really camps season at this point. Although I just did one earlier this month was that in November? Yeah, beginning of November in Massachusetts. That was in a convention center, Fiddle Hell. Very fun if you're ever in the area in November. Um, but yeah, I think I feel fairly balanced at this point on kind of playing and teaching. Um, I think like I'm mostly at this point interested in the kind of social aspect of playing in regards to like kind of my repertoire. Like I want to learn classic tunes, and I'm not at this point working on anything particularly kind of flashy or highly ornamented or highly arranged. Um, I'm doing a little, stuff with Noah Fishman. We have that duo album. That stuff's very arranged and fairly technical, and that's a lot of fun. And I'm glad I have that balance as well of that sort of stuff, and then the playing in sessions and playing with friends. And then I also do like to sit around and learn some new instruments as well. So I'm feeling fairly balanced these days, but it does come and go. Sometimes I feel like I'm really stuck in sort of having to just teach and teach and teach, or sometimes I'm not doing as much teaching and I'm just kind of really busy either playing or performing or on short tours and things. Good question though. Let's see. Sean says, talking of slightly unusual rhythms, Sonny's Mazurka pops up at sessions in my area fairly regularly. Cool. I know I've heard that tune. I can't pull it out of my head at this moment, but my bandmate Julia, I know she plays that tune. Joseph asks, what is something you've been working on lately as far as technique goes? I think in terms of technique, what I'm really working on is staying as like relaxed and using as little kind of unnecessary strength or like unnecessary, what's the word I'm looking for? Unnecessary like muscles. So really kind of getting as relaxed as I can, I think allows me to play for longer because it's less work. And then it also kind of adds to like tone production. You can really focus in with simple exercises. That's all about getting the best sound out of the instrument. So that's the sort of stuff I've been working on lately. Yes, James says, I often find beginner tunes have the most scope for improv. I agree. Often I find if it's a really notey technical tune, there's not as much space to kind of craft it your own way. Wayfaring Stranger, I can do a little bit of that. Alf asks how the album of Scandinavian tunes is coming along. Non-existently, really. I've got a little notebook full of ideas, but I'll probably do that one after the Irish album, which is also not coming out anytime soon. So hopefully one of these days I'll get some time to get back into the recording studio and work on it. yes, Belfast does have a regular Irish session. 7 to 9 at Darby's. If you're in Maine and in the know, would love to see you there. What was the question? Wayfaring Stranger. Yeah, I'll play a little Wayfaring Stranger. Wayfaring stranger, I'm traveling through this world alone. No tears, sickness, toil, danger in that dry world to which I go. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I am just going over Jordan. I am just going over home. There's a little Wayfaring Stranger for you. I love that tune. Anything that goes minor to major is great in my book. Wow, 1 o'clock really snuck up on me. Thank you all so much for coming out and listening on a Saturday or whatever time or day of the week it is, wherever you're tuning in from. Sorry we didn't get to the play along, but we'll have to do whatever this week's play along was next week. I'll make sure I'm going to be here next week, but you never know. Let's see here. December's right around the corner. Happy December, everybody. Yeah, I'm planning on next week being here. But have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks so much for the super chats and the PayPal donations and the Patreon support. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you all so much.